G'day, swingers, and good morning. Welcome to Macca's Old School. It's Friday, the 21st of April. We have a very special guest today, and something a little bit different as well. So we're going to touch on a bit of crime, a bit of drugs, a bit of this, a bit of that. Firstly, we have a sponsor finally. Unbelievable. It's taken us nearly 2 years, but we've got a sponsor. So we'd like to thank Storm Studios in Sydney, Gladesville, and Marcus in particular, who's been doing all this fantastic stuff for us, the beginning and the end. We're picking it right up, and we're most grateful. So thanks very much, Marcus. Storm, like and subscribe. I've been told I've got to do that a lot more. Okay, today we have a gentleman who's been there, done that. He's a very well-known character in Sydney. He's touched on music, animation, art. He's been a major activist, right 60s, 70s, 80s, going back to also the early days of the Mardi Gras and stuff like that. He's had some wild times. He's partied a little bit. And as I said, it's something a little bit different today. It's crime and it's also a mix of a few other things. So without further ado, I would like you to introduce Mr. Toby Zoates. Good morning and welcome, Toby.
How you going?
Peace out. Mate, as I always start, what I'd like to do is start with, where are you from? Where's your roots from? A bit about your childhood, and then we're going to go into some different sort of things you've done. Some interesting stories. You've met a lot of interesting characters. I'd like to touch a little bit on the old school cross. And also at the end, I'd like to talk a bit about what you're doing now, mate. You're quite a well-known artist.
Okay, all right. Done that.
Fire away, mate.
I'm from Melbourne. I was born there in inner city. I'm born in Collingwood, and my parents, my dad's from Richmond, my mum's from Collingwood, which was ending up to be a bit of a argument point between them because, of course, she's into the Magpies and he's into the Tigers.
Right.
They fought over it all the time. Anyway, we had to share houses throughout the early 50s because my dad and mum come back from the war and there were no jobs. We're brokers. So I must have lived in at least 7 different houses. And when I'm 7 years old, the Olympic Games in Melbourne finally fucked off and they gave us, the poor people, the Olympic Village where the athletes stayed, and we got first time in our lives we got a house, the smallest flat. I shared a room no bigger than this studio with my brother for 10 years, and we were at each other's throats throughout the whole thing. It was really like, imagine it's like a prison cell, and the two of you stuck there. But so I grew up.
Just you and your brother, mate. Just you and your brother.
Yeah, and just me and my brother, and I spent 10 years there. There's a border between Heidelberg and Preston called Darebin Creek, so we played there as kids. I went to a government high school. I got in a lot of trouble there. I finally, in 5th year, got kicked out, you might say. And when I said to my dad, I want to be an artist, I presented him with a handkerchief with a horse's head drawn on it. And he said, you've ruined my fucking hanky. And he slapped my face. He said, you better find a trade because artists don't get any money. And he's smart enough to know that. Yeah. So I went and trained as a nurse. I'm a palliative care nurse. It took me 3 years. While I was there, an older nurse cracked onto me, you might say, and convinced me that I was a neurotic mess and that I needed some kind of psychological therapy. And he put me onto a clinic in Kew. He said, look, I've been cured of... I was queer, and I finally had to accept I was queer. And I told him, he said, well, look, I was queer once, but now I'm straight, I'm married, I got a baby, and it's all because I took some LSD therapy. And
right. Yeah.
He said, go and try it. Now, I'd heard of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but always thought, how the hell can I get that shit? So that when I hear I can get it through therapy, I go to this clinic, New Haven, and the shrink there says, you've got to have 10 sessions and you'll be cured and straight and blah, blah, blah. Now,
that's it.
I get admitted in, and I had 4 sessions, and in the 4th, they couldn't break me. Let's just say that. They were, in the end, they're trying to like mold you and brainwash you and become what they want. And of course, I fought it. I didn't want to have my sense of self dissolved and then them take over. So on the 4th session, when they saw I wasn't succumbing, they gave me a second shot. And in that second shot, I finally got past the bummers and I went to a more...
happier place.
Paradisical. So they bring in the head honcho, a woman, dressed as a nurse, all in white, weirded me out totally, because she starts saying, listen, you've had 10,000 lives. You've been raped, murdered, tortured 1,000 times. Remember it. Vomit it up. Come on, and I just thinking, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Well, it turned out, and they never once told me that they were a cult. They called the family. I only found out 2 years later, because she's in the news suddenly. Anne Hamilton Byrne it was. And
they've had stuff on TV about the family. Yeah,
right. So I'm not a member of the cult.
So they're trying to get you in. Yeah.
They sent out recruiters. See, this is what this guy was who talked me into it all. He's a recruiter. Without telling me, though. They didn't tell me one thing. I think it's a clinic.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ran away, and I was really freaked out, of course. And so I passed my final exams. I'd saved enough money, and I fucked off to India. And I lived there for 4 years, and I wanted to get on top of the bummers that psychedelic therapy had given me. So I took more of it. And I lived with hippies, or we were called freaks in those days, and we lived on beaches in Goa, in the jungle. Yeah, and we took a lot of pure LSD and danced around bonfires naked, blah blah blah. And
lots of Westerners.
Yeah, all Westerners.
America,
one
Britain,
Indian was Americans. Yeah, you got it. Brits, a couple of French, but one Indian was with us. And there's Sadhu Baba. You know Sadhus, what they are? They're the Indian dropouts who. They've got long dreadlocks. They smoke chillums all day long. They worship Shiva. So anyway, there's
something
only one
different, and they're known as dropout, and
So here we are. I'm trying to get on top of my bummers. All right. Now the major thing that I had nightmares in my tripping was that Satan was coming to claim my soul. Finally, I got over it. I realized Satan's bullshit and God is bullshit. Right. I got over that duality. I don't believe in it anymore. I broke through. When you grow up in a Christian society, you get brainwashed by this, right? And now I finally could shake it off. So I hung out in India. I did yoga, meditation, Come back to Australia. I was going to go to London, and I just thought, no, if I want to operate somewhere, why don't I operate in the country I grew up in? Because I know Australia. And my dad sent me an air ticket. I went and worked in the Simpsons Desert for 9 months with an exploration company. I earned more bucks. I was going to go to London. This is 76, and I would have got to London for the punk so-called revolution.
Yeah, big scene.
I was passing through Sydney. I went to Sydney to see AC/DC. They were playing at the Haymarket, basically for free.
Yeah.
And I found a little barrel trip in my pocket from India that I forgot about. It was an orange sunshine. So me and a mate took it, and I danced with Bon Scott right off my head. It was fantastic. And I looked around Sydney, and I thought, fuck, this is a pretty good city. The light. Yeah. We got told to go sleep in some squats in Darlinghurst. I saw, free rent.
Yep.
I didn't know about the doll, right? And then I'm told, you can get the doll, and, so I got the doll. I then found that was a great way to be paid while I paint and shit like that. You know, like you can't get grants. I'm not from a wealthy family, so getting the doll was good. I smoked pot, but I've never had heroin in my life.
Yep.
Never had cocaine, any of those what they call hard drugs. I just smoked pot.
Pot and LSD, basically.
Well, I even stopped that, right? I did it in India, but I might have took one more trip up King's Cross one night, and I was with a girlfriend, and this bald guy showed up, and she says, "It's the skull!" And I flipped out. Right? I looked at this guy, and I thought, "Oh fuck, it is the skull."
Yeah.
Remember that dude? Oh, she made me shit my pants. But
Skeletor.
I got over LSD. I'd smoked a lot of pot in my life, though, but I'd rather have that than say. Wherever I went, I was surrounded by heroin, whether it was the squats, King's Cross.
Particularly in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah,
it was rife. It was rife.
If you didn't take smack, you weren't, cutting the mustard. You weren't like in. You had to pay your dues. Live fast, die young. But I'm a smart guy. I thought, this bullshit. Yeah. So I'd be all with rock and rollers. Yeah. And they'd all go into the next room, and I'm alone thinking, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, then they'd all come out with, what I call Omega Man eyes and sit there like, and I think, oh, fuck, they've all had a shot. And they look at me like, you're a wowzer,
Yeah, you're the odd one out.
Yeah, what's your problem? And I think, you're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause most of them didn't get a life. They either died or their careers.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I had a few friends
blah, on and on. I've been a painter since I got into filmmaking. I've had shows. I had a show here last night in Darlinghurst, and I've got to keep saying there's no bucks for most of us artists, but
it's hard. It's a struggle, isn't it? I mean, it's fucking hard. What was your show last night, mate? What was that?
Well, I made a film called Virgin Beasts, and I knew I couldn't get much money in the day, so I thought, there's a genre in filmmaking called trash, where you do it on the cheap as best you can. Most trash filmmakers don't even pay their actors, or they tell them, come in your own clothes, we're not going to provide costumes, we're not going to feed you. But I found some money to pay them. To get your film processed in a lab here, you have to have paid union rates, or they'll stop the printing of your film. And I wanted to pay so I managed to raise money to pay them all. We did a 10-day shoot. I paid them $500 each. I paid everybody. Yeah,
you got it.
So, I made this trashy film, rubber hearts, sets wobble, the wooden acting.
Yeah, that's a bit of fun.
It's fun, man. I showed it last night. Everyone laughs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I finally, after a lot of personal trouble, like getting framed for armed robbery, but we'll get onto that in a minute.
Yep.
In '96, after I got fucked over and I'm laying in bed so depressed, I get a phone call. And the guy says, oh, I'm in France and we've seen your film and we're going to fly you to France. And I thought, oh, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I go, okay, and I hang up and thinking, what the fuck? Next thing I know, there's a knock on the door and a courier's handing me an airplane ticket.
Oh, you beauty.
And they flew me to Paris. They feted me, the Aussie artist. I went up against 7 countries competing. And there was a Japanese film that was shit hot, right? It's soft porn. They call it pink porn because when they get the close-ups of the genitalia, they put a pink fuzzy circle around it. So
then it becomes an R as
right?
opposed to an X. Yeah.
Everyone pissed themselves laughing, me included, with this Japanese soft porn. And I'm thinking, they're going to win, right? So we get to the night of the announcement, and they finally said, yes, Japan has won. And I'm thinking, you fucking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then they said, but you know something? The judges, we just couldn't decide between 2 movies. And they said, the guy goes, Toby, you emotionally blackmailed us. So you're sharing this prize. The 2 years have won. Yeah, and I won 10,000 francs, and I went to Amsterdam, I went to Morocco.
And a free trip over there. It would have been fantastic. Yeah.
Super great. Like, I had bad luck with the armed robbery, and then I win this prize, and I refer to it as luck of the Irish. Not that is how it works out, but whenever I've had bad luck, suddenly something good balances it, right? And that's what happened.
It's life is this time of age.
It is.
It's a lucky dip.
Hopefully one gets a prize more often than a kick in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, what happened? What you just said, what happened with the armed robbery? What's a bit of a story there, Toby?
I've been arrested 6 times on civil disobedience charges, including with the Prisoners Act group. And
you're a major activist, really, which is,
but, I paid the fines or whatever. Thankfully, I didn't do time. We always had lawyers that come and bail us out. But finally, Black Thursday, I go to get some hot cross buns in my local cake shop. And I go in there, and the woman behind the counter goes like this when I walk in. And I say, what's going on? And she calls the woman out the back, and the one from the back says, no, not him. And the other one says, and I said, what has happened here? You're being robbed. I'm a smart boy.
Yeah.
Finally,
I just want some buns.
They called the cops, and the cops come and they said, the proof that you did it is you admitted to the armed robbery to the women. And it went on and like that. They framed me, right? They verbaled me. They stood me in a lineup of 6 office workers and me in torn punk clothes. And the women come in, they didn't look at the other 6 guys. They just went, him! Fuck, I shat my pants, right? Because I didn't have a clue about all this. So anyway, I was under, thankfully, a guy came in the morning when I was being, what do you call it? It's not arraignment yet, but they got to decide what they're going to do with you. And the magistrate kept on and on and on. Good Friday, this is a heinous crime. You've robbed a cake shop. And
I was just going for an Easter bun.
And a lemon tart, by the way. But anyway, my mate stood up holding his baby, and he said, I know Toby really well, and he wouldn't enter his head to do this, so I'll go bail. And the magistrate kept, no, a heinous crime. He's a real bastard, right? I wouldn't mind slapping his face. But anyway, my mate talked him into it. I got bail. I'm home 3 years, not allowed out of this city. I got to report to police station twice a week.
Yeah.
Basically, these 2 corrupt cops from King's Cross had too lazy to actually find the guy who actually did it, and think I'm the patsy because they looked me up on their phone and see all my previous arrests. So I lucked out. Even then, it was hard to get legal aid, but I did finally get a lawyer. She found me a great Queen Counsel, Philip Bolton. He's a really great guy. He totally said, we're going to get you off this. He said, I'd tell you something, Toby. Nearly everyone I defend are guilty. You're one of the few innocent ones I've ever had to defend. But anyway, I went to trial on this, and they bring the two women witnesses in, and the first one says, on the day, describe the guy. She said, we come in and I saw his face clearly, and those blue eyes I'll never forget. And the judge said, well, you said on the day the dude was 24, and Mr. Toby here is 44. Do you really think he's 24?
Yeah.
And she went, yes. Yeah, real dog,
It's
right?
a 20-year difference we're talking
fuck.
here.
I mean, he looked at just my eye. He thought, well, even looking at his eyes, he's not 24.
Yeah.
So they bring the second woman in. Okay, describe the guy. She said, we had a mask up to here. And he said, well, the other one said he didn't have a mask, and you say he's got a mask.
This is good, though. It's conflicting all the time.
The judge went, and threw it out, right?
Yeah.
The cop said, this is going to go for 4 weeks. It went for 4 hours, and then I got off. I mean, it fucked me, though, right? I had to go to a shrink.
Yeah.
I was feeling suicidal. And like I said, I'm laying on I get it. That took till nearly the end of 95, all this. It started in 93 and it ended in 95.
Jesus.
And I'm laying on my bed and I get the phone call, they're flying me to France. So, life is like, I don't know what to say, a seesaw.
Lucky dip. That's what I say. Like, you go to a school 8 years ago, life is a lucky dip. You don't know what you're going to get.
Hand grenade,
Yeah. So, Jesus. While we're on that, so mate, while we're on a bit of the criminal thing, you remember the old school King's Cross? I'm past the mid-50s, and I love the Cross, and I used to hang up there a lot and whatever. You met a few characters up there, mate, in your day? Anything you'd like to talk about there? A few interesting characters. You remember Lay Girl very well.
Yeah.
I briefly met in the 90s Carlotta. I got drunk with her for 3 hours, and there was a bunch of other people there at the Bourbon, and a fucking trooper. Really good, mate. She was fantastic. Yeah. So she'd tell you to get fucked, and she was good. But
well, I hung around just down the street at a cafe called the Piccolo.
Heard of the
and
Piccolo?
I was there for 30 years. It went till dawn. If you had nowhere else to go, you could go to the Piccolo. And I mean, every bum from King's Cross came in, right? Like every deadbeat hustler, junkie, hooker, and artists, musicians. It got, everyone, movie stars, we all sat there.
Yeah.
And,
Vincent Price went to Lay Girls. Remember old Vincent Price?
Yeah,
went to he went with his missus and he loved it.
Yeah, that's Coral Brown, right?
Yeah.
The actress, those two. Fuck. So a lot of famous ones came. Marianne Faithfull came in one night. I can go on and on and on who came there. But from there, I met villains, I met heroes, I met deadbeats, I met stars. I mean, what else to say? And then, who was operating in the area at that time was Roger Rogerson. And so you always had that.
I've met him a few times.
It's like a bogeyman, right? And in the shadows lurking. So I've never had heroin in my life, folks, but everyone around me took it. That whole heroin supply thing was going on.
Yep.
The stories I got told of even the greatest rock stars would all go to the dealer's place and there's one particular woman, and they'd be made to sit there for hours sometimes.
Yep.
Because she's got them right on the end of her little finger, and she'd be in the other room trying to find a vein. Finally, she'd find one. She'd come out and give them her filters, which they'd scrabble for. And I'm talking about top rock stars. Then finally, she'd give them their elixir. I don't know what the fuck to call it. Even Kurt Cobain went to her, and he took too much. He ended up getting his stomach.
He ended up getting toast,
Well, we killed himself, but in this particular event, he took too much and had to go to St. Vinny's and have his stomach pumped in the middle of one of his tours. So,
I did see it,
I'm a huge fan of Nirvana, I got to say. But what else? Look, I got involved with the Prisoners Action Group, and I don't quite know how, except I grew up queer, and you're a criminal just because you're who you are.
Yep.
So you're threatened with jail.
Yep.
So you got to worry, what's the jail like if I end up? Oh, it's fucked. The screws are bashing you.
Yep.
There's no chance of education. There's food, shit house, da-da-da. Even you might get fucked in the ass. So
that's the same, rape and whatever else,
So you don't want to go there. So the same with, you're going to meet corrupt police, and they're going to fuck you. So both things, to go against corrupt police and to try to reform the prison. So if I do end up there, maybe I've helped make it better. And you know what? For a while, we did succeed. But finally, they clawed it all back, right? Where, as far as I know, the chances for education aren't as good as what it was before. I mean, the screws went back to cruelty. I'm not too sure because I'm not a prisoner, but I hung around with them for quite a few years. We did stunts, you might say. There was one time where there was a lot of bashing going on. We went into the Screws Union office, about 5 of us, And we said, there's a guy out on the stairway bleeding to death. So all the staff ran out to have a look. As soon as they were out the door, we slammed it, barricaded it, and sat in there. And the cops came in, of course, and axed their way through and led us all out. And
bashed everyone.
Did shit like that.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Early days of the Mardi Gras. Anything interesting? I remember myself in the early days. It was fucking. There was, as they would say at the time, there poof-to-bashins, they used to say, going on all the time. Have you got any stories? Anything interesting there?
Not
mate?
particularly, but I mean, if you grow up, as I just talked about it, queer and a criminal. I mean, it twists you to a degree, and you get bashed, you get spat on, you get called a dirty fag. You go for a job, and they could suss you out pretty quick. Even getting rent was fucking hard. So life's pretty tough, and we get to a point where we're just fucking sick of it. So I'm with some artists at Tin Sheds Sydney Uni, and they tell me, look, we're going on a march today. They weren't queer, they're straight, but they're what we call allies. So I was out, everyone knew about me. So we marched down Oxford Street. At some point, they all went up King's Cross to have a street party, and I decided I'm here to protest. I don't particularly want to go. So I didn't go up there. I come back later in the night and told the cops had bashed the shit out of everyone and they're all in jail. So I stood outside Darlinghurst Police Station shouting. Now that's the first march in June. Then we had another one in July where nothing happened. We got to Taylor Square and Herd Street. But on the third one in August, coming down from Paddington Town Hall, this time I had brought a video camera. And I'm going to try and video the whole thing. The cops in a phalanx at Taylor Square just attacked us, right? No damn reason. Bashed the shit out of us. Arrested about, what was it,
so
28 people.
You're getting battened, clubbed and whatever else.
They love punching the women in the guts, cops, and dragging them around by their hair and shit like that, right? They go straight for the women. I had a camera, as I said, and it got knocked out of my hand. I'm in the middle of the whole melee, and it's on the ground and it's being kicked around, and I see bits coming off it. So I got down to try to...
camera, and they're expensive.
I got it from a community centre, right? But it's still... So I get down on the ground to try to grab it, and all the scrabble around me, and this cop kicks me right in the head, and I get up, I'm a bit woozy, but they're all still reaching for you. So now I've been in riots, and I've managed to either avoid the cops' greasy mitts, or I've been grabbed. But here they are, the hands, and I'm ducking like this, and I'm seeing stars. I managed to get out of that crowd, and I didn't get arrested. And friends say to me, oh, well, how come you didn't get arrested? But there are times, it's funny, the biggest issue in my life is who I am, and it's the one thing I don't get arrested on, because I've had too many arrests, and I'm thinking, I don't want another one, right? They're going to fucking fry me, and I managed to get away. I got out of the crowd. Dyke comes up to me and says, "Are you all right, Toby?" And I go, "Yeah, could see stars and all." And I smoke pot, so I sit down and roll a joint, and everyone's screaming and carrying on, and I'm blowing
joint. A beer would fix you, fairly fast back in those days.
I really like the joint. And, So that's that story. I've become, what's called a 78er, and we get to march at the head of that whole schmozzle up there.
How many times did you get nicked at that time? All sort of smaller charges and stuff like that? How many times were you nicked? Back then you were saying you were locked up a lot and...
Well, I wasn't locked up. I just get a night there. But on 6 issues, and then the 7th was the framed up hold up. But let's see, twice on trying to stop uranium, which I call anti-nuclear proliferation, because there's no way overseas, they say they got all the paperwork to check out what's happening with uranium. Bullshit. Anyone can, make up the paperwork, and I felt that, and a lot of it do, that some of that uranium was going to get siphoned off for weapons. So I've been arrested twice on that issue. Another time there was the Christians hollering in Hyde Park against abortion and carrying on with placards with twisted fetuses on it.
Was that Reverend Fred?
He was probably in the area. I mean, just an amorphous bunch of screaming Christians, and
He's only recently retired from the Parliament. I think he's nearly 90 now, I think.
He's an old bastard, really. I mean, the fact that people vote for this guy...
And he was on radio for years and years.
They should get a time machine and send him back to where he belongs, which is the medieval times when they tortured people to death. I mean, fuck him.
I don't think he's too well, but I think he's around the 90 mark. He's been fucking around for ages.
They had a demo against... trans, I think, and he goes to it with that Mark Latham to yammy, and he fainted in the middle of the
that's right. That was recently, I think. Yeah.
And everyone's, our good old Fred Niles fainted, oh no. And we're all thinking,
Yeah, well, he's no spring chicken. Fucking hell. I mean,
yeah, well, he's a feather duster.
He has been around for a while.
So we got arrested there for it was causing a melee, right? Because the Christians tried to kill us.
Yeah.
And we just kind of had to hold them up. Then the cops fucking hit us, took me and like 5 women into the police station, slapped one of the women's face really heavy, then looked at me as if to say, now what are you going to do about this?
And this is a lot of this stuff is pre-mobiles, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everyone these days is snap all over the place. But
and I knew
the cops knew they could get away with a lot of shit.
Fuck yeah. If I said, listen, you fucking pig, don't you hit the women, they would have kicked their shit. They were waiting for it to kick the shit out of me. So I'm trying to keep cool. They said to me, drop your pants, right? So I dropped my pants, and all the women are like staring at my fucking ass and
that's your tackle? Yeah.
And like, this is supposed to bring me undone, but like I lived in the nude with a lot of hippies, so I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Yeah.
They're all sniggering like this behind the counter, and I, get to pull my pants up, blah, blah, blah. So that was, what other...
This is Darlow. Who was it? Was it Bumper Farrell around those times? Frank Farrell, Big Sergeant, yeah.
I don't know copper's name.
Shit.
Just the usual classic ogre sitting behind the counter grunting. And, what else? Housing, I'm in the squats. We went down to Milson's Point and squatted a house. Got arrested, dragged out of there. Another arrest was just causing again a melee on the street.
What happened with the squats? So after a while you've got complaints, this and that, and what, just a whole heap would come through and just drag us out, take your stuff, or coppers?
No, not particularly. They tried to. We fought
like a raid sort of thing, or just
they
get out?
They raided us all the time. But we managed to survive 12 years in Piermont squats, and the cops came, Channel 9 TV crew came. There's pollies from the town hall came. Everyone came, even a movie director. I come home one night and there's Ray Lawrence. He did the movie Bliss. He's standing in my squat saying, we're thinking of this as a set. I said, fuck off. And he really got a shock because, everyone's up his bum to get in his movie. I said, mate, you can stand in line. You got about 10 movie crews ahead of you who want to use this place. And that's true. We had Liv Ullman shooting the wild duck there. We had the dudes who did Monkey Grip, blah, blah, blah. So we fought off everyone. The skinheads came and tried to get us. We beat the shit out of them. Junkies.
That's it. The skins were, I remember the skinheads were real big in the 80s, early 90s, 80s sort of thing.
They thought
there used to be a pack of them hanging on George Street around Hoyts there and all that sort of fucking shit. And weren't as tough as they thought. Yeah.
Well, not really. They would pick on the old man to beat up or a woman to rape. But the minute we're squatters and we're anarcho-social democrats. We're not into policing, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to take it easy and not boss people around or tell them how to live. But here's this skinhead gang. They're stealing everything. They're raping the women. They're fucking beating up the old man.
We're shaving heads and Doc Martens.
I just slipped out one night. My mate comes in and he's got really white skin and there's a trickle of blood down his face. And I said, what the fuck's happened? And he goes, the skinheads hit me on the head with a blunt side of an axe.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, truly, I saw red. I see the red blood. I flipped. I rushed into where the skin. No, I'm not a fighter or anything, but I just flipped. Yeah. I grabbed the leader of the gang and I said, you want to fucking, you bastard, you want to see what it's like to get bashed up? I dragged him out in the backyard. I beat the shit out of him. I got him on the ground at one point and I got his arm across my knee and I'm just about to snap it. And he goes, Toby, please don't. Please, forgive me. Let me go. I'm a good guy. I said, okay. Promise, right? I get up and he fucking starts again, right? Throws another punch at me.
Oh, the dogs. Yeah. It was just conjure. Yeah.
We went on and on and on. I couldn't punch this guy enough. He was like punch drunk. He could just get up and take it in. I think he was a masochist and enjoyed it. At one point, as we're nearing the end of our energy, a woman living next door in the other squat, she was a heroin dealer and she'd come out. 3 days before, she'd sold a bad deal and the dudes came back. They gave her 2 black eyes and hacked her hair with garden shears. So she comes out looking like a scarecrow.
Fucking hell.
And she stood behind me and said, what's going on here? What's all the noise? And Steve threw a punch. I saw it coming and ducked and it hit her right in one of her black eyes.
Fuck.
So she's wandering around screaming.
You fucking cunt.
And I just went, whap! And this guy, Steve, flew through the air like a puppet and landed on a heap on the ground, and it was over. All his stupid mates come over and dragged him away, and we call him Steve Goodhead, right? Just to get up him. And so life in the squats, I tell you, it would have been cheaper to pay rent. Believe me, they stole my push bikes, my movie camera, my projector, my electric typewriter.
Well, you can't really secure anything anyway, can you, mate?
No.
Like, what do you do? This is my section, and if you do stuff during the day, fuck knows what goes
come
on
through
here.
the window, kick the door in.
Anyone can. Yeah.
Then they want heroin, for instance. The skinheads are into heroin as well.
Yeah,
and,
right. Fucking hell.
So, like, you know, councils would come with their stretch limos, and one point they put up a balsa wood model of how it's all going to look in the future. And one of our squatters, a woman, actually, well, they've all got the TV crew and everything, she went and put her fist right through the whole balsa wood model. She said, fuck off. Finally, we went to the Supreme Court to try to get that place given to us.
Yeah.
But they promised us for about 4 years they were going to give it to us. They're going to give us a $500,000 to renovate it, and we could live there as an artist co-op. I knew it.
And they pull the pin. Yeah.
I knew it, man. Finally, they said, fuck off. They said, okay, you've put up a big fight. We took them to the Supreme Court, everything. Then they said, we'll give you a housing department in, you know, each one of us, whoever on the list first off. So about 20 of us I got shown a place in Surrey Hills.
Yep.
This is 1990. I moved there straight away, and I've been there ever since, right? I've been there 34 years.
Shit,
3 months after I moved in, that nutcase took the shotgun and killed 5 people across the footpath from me. I'm there 3 months. I thought, I've
what
come
happened there,
this...
Toby? What's the story there?
Well, there's this nutcase. He walked past me one night wearing a balaclava with the eyeballs cut out, right? And he walks past me, and I think, what
so you're sitting there going, this is fucking weird. Something's going to go down here.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, didn't take much longer. His stepsister comes over from Germany or somewhere to visit her lovely stepbrother. He tied her to the bed and raped her for about 2 weeks.
Fucking dog.
Then he's coming out of his flat one day, and someone next door called him a doll bludger. And he went nuts. He went in and got the shotgun or whatever. He come out and shot that person dead. He went to another neighbour who must have maybe give him the lip. He kicked their door open, shot them, came back into his room and shot her. Went down to the footpath near my flat and shot someone there. And there's this old guy called Jock.
So people are just scattering and fucking running and which you don't blame them. Fuck.
Well, old Jock who used to say to hello, an old seaman, every day he'd say hi, hello. He's a lovely old man. This dude points the rifle at him, and Jock, you know, and click, he's run out of
he's out of ammo.
But the poor old Jock fell back in shock and had a heart attack and died, all right?
Yeah, bastard. Well, it's the same thing. He fucking killed him, you know.
So they found him later on in a convenience store eating potato chips. Arrested him. It's a famous story. They've called it the Surrey Hills Massacre.
Surrey Hills. What was his name?
I don't know his name. You can look it up.
Surrey Hills. I mean, fucking hell.
So he 3 months and this happened.
He got life, obviously. You never saw that prick again, or
No, he went inside. I didn't fucking see him. But I've lived in Northcote, and I tell you, you've all heard of it. Suicide towers, and one dude above me, 4 floors up. I'm on the toilet. I hear crunch, and I think, what? I think someone's tossed a TV out there. I go out and here's this guy. He's landed on his head, and it's all. And I'm a nurse, so I know what's going on here. He's stertorous breathing. I know he's dying. And the guy on the next balcony says, "Don't worry, mate. You'll be all right."
Oh, yeah, you'll be all right.
You'll be all right, mate. The blood is name. And he said it like 21 times. You'll be all right, mate. I did. I looked up and said, look, mate, he's dying.
Fucked. Shut up.
He's not going to be all right. And the guy said, well, I'm only trying to help him.
Trying to help him. He's just had a swan dive out the field.
Call an ambulance. I mean, so shit like that in Northcote, man. And we've had serial killers there.
It's well known, mate. It's what's happening with that? Are they for years, are they going to eventually a developer going to come in, or what's going on with that? Yeah.
Well,
they've been held off for a long time.
Well, they picked on Waterloo first, right? So they've got to deal with that.
Yep.
And no, they've got their eye on them. Of course, it's billions of dollars.
Yeah, anything for bucks. Yeah.
Gladys came up with the whole idea. They're going to turn it into like an internet, what do you call it? Computer...
village.
They've got all the brand spanking drawings of building, and it's the whole block from Central Station, Eddie Avenue, right down to...
Oh, it's huge, I think anyone who's lived in Sydney knows.
It's a huge block.
Yeah.
But it hasn't happened yet. You know what they're doing to really think that they'll scare us and make us run away. They're using it as a dumping ground for the mentally ill. Yeah. And every week there's more poor people, schizos and whatever. Yeah. It's like in a George Romero zombie movie, and you go out at night, they're all, and I feel for them. But that's what they're doing there, and they think not only they can get them, they don't have to pay for psych clinics anymore, and maybe good because they were torture palaces, although they could have opened up cooperative houses, say with 10 rooms, and have one RN there, right? But no, they just threw them on the streets, and now they're in Northcote. And I mean, again, you know, I feel for them, but at night you hear screaming, glass smashing, you know, and the poor things are all staggering around like it's the George Romero zombie movie. Got no one else to say about it, you know. Again, the poor things, and living in that environment, I mean, I'm going slightly nutty myself.
Because you came back to Sydney in '77, is that right? Sort of thing. So you've lived there. How many years have you been down there? A long time.
I've been in Northcote 34, and I was in the Scots 13.
Hell. You would have seen some changes and some wild shit. Yeah.
It's all falling apart.
Yeah.
They are not.
They don't give a fuck.
They're not renovating. And secondly, seriously, take the 2 doors from me. An old lady, we called her Dolly. She was the one that way back in 1960, not the Queen, Dolly did it. She cut the ribbon on the place. So she's there for 50, 60 years, yeah.
And she's still there?
No, she died. She died 10 years and more ago. Her flat's been left empty the whole time. And they can, if you bring up, oh no, it's not true, you know, but it is true. There's empty flats all over, and what they're doing is gradually leaving them empty. So
there's got to be a couple hundred flats here, isn't there?
Yeah,
I mean,
apparently there's 1,000 people living in Northcote.
Yeah, right.
But bit by bit by bit, by attrition, they're hoping to finally empty it, you know, and then they won't have to worry about how many are left there.
Yeah.
They want to grab that place. It's what is it? $50 billion block of land.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's only a matter of bloody time, isn't it? Well, that was the one down the rocks. They changed all that. That's all. What are they doing there? They're redeveloping all that. They kicked everyone out.
That house that we fought for to stop it being knocked down was finally renovated and sold for $5 billion. No, $5 million. Yeah. And I'm the one, you know, we got a criminal record from saving it. And cops looked me up. Oh, you know, trespass, you're a criminal.
He's a troublemaker.
And some dude's down there, some rich guy laughing, right? And I mean, this is our system for you worldwide, and particularly concentrated here in Australia. It's called neo-capitalism. They sell off everything to the rich people and the less poor.
And I mean, at the moment too, times are fucking really hard. Cost of living, everything's going through the bloody roof. I mean, Sydney's. You know, I tell people just in my time, you know, Sydney was quite reasonable and cheap years ago to live in. It's fucking not now. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
No, that's why I stayed here. It was really...
It was quite real. I was born in Parramatta, and we lived in Pendle Hill and then Pennant Hills for years, and it was dirt cheap, mate. We got a house, you know, with a garage and a big backyard for 45 grand. You know, it wouldn't even get you a shit house now. You know,
well, so of course,
it gets you nothing.
I back in the day, you know, houses in Annandale or Surrey Hills were going for like 60,000 at most. So you think, oh, you know, why didn't I get a job and 5 years as a nurse, slave, and get that money? But you know, I'm caught up with rock and roll bands. I'm painting. I've got this stupid dream. I'm going to make it as an artist, which 50 years later is bullshit, I can tell you. And I didn't go buy that house. And okay, I got this house in the apartment flat that is supposedly, I got a lifetime lease on it because back in when I got it, that's what they offered. Now they don't. But
your father,
it's okay there.
Your father passed some years ago. Have you got it? Is your brother? Have you got
my
any
brother's
contact?
Still, he's in Tasmania.
Yeah, right.
He's a woodworker, and I'm best friends with his ex-wife and her kids, which are my nephews and nieces. I'm really close to.
Yep. Any sort of relationship with your brother, or it's?
He's straight. He didn't look even when my niece said, "Oh, you know, Uncle Bill's queer." Oh no, Bill's not queer. You know, my real name, William. Billy's not queer. And they said, "Are you kidding?" All through childhood, you saw this, and he's in denial on it. But he's a good guy. He's just, I don't know. He didn't treat his first wife, my best friend, very well. I mean, he brings her. This is in the day where people tried to live on communes, and they'd pour no electricity, no hot water. She's just had a baby. She's got to scrub the fucking nappies down the creek in freezing water, right? Yep. Finally, and he goes next door and roots a Sheila in the commune next door, you know? And she just said, "Fuck you," and went back to Melbourne and got a divorce. I mean, so we got strained family relationships there, but I'm really close to my nephew and nieces. I'm classic uncle Toby Zoates, all right?
Yep.
And yeah, I arrived in Sydney in 77. I was on my way to London, but I liked Sydney and I stayed here. I didn't want to stay in Melbourne. I go down there a lot, but you grow up somewhere. Sometimes it just grates on your nerves.
Yeah, well, that's right. I'm a Sydney boy, and I still love Sydney, but it's nuts now. It's what is it, over 5.5 million or whatever?
Did you know that they've just announced Melbourne's got more people in it now?
I did see it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I
haven't been to Melbourne for years, but yeah,
well,
no,
they've just said it. You know, Sydney's got 5 million, and somehow though, I reckon. You know what I was thinking? You know, good. Let them all move to Melbourne. Make it easier for us here. Right? There won't be traffic.
Give us some more space.
Yeah. Crowds maybe not so thick.
Traffic, parking. It's a bloody nightmare, mate. I wanted to ask you about Denning.
Well,
there's a little story there which I think the swingers are going to be interested in. He was quite well known. If you can fill us in about that experience. And
Prisoners Action Group, we're hearing what's going on. There was a lot of still screw bashing prisoners, and Ray had particularly talked about it. He was a quite articulate person. He wrote quite articulate letters to everyone everywhere, and feeling for him, I visited him in Long Bay.
Yep.
A girlfriend of mine cracked onto him while she's visiting. She fell in love with him through the fucking glass. So
quite a well-known criminal for the
Ray
swingers
Denning,
that don't know.
right?
Ray Denning, he's quite a well-known criminal.
So-called Australia's public enemy #1.
Yep.
Anyway, one day I'm pottering around in my squat. The woman Debbie comes in and says, "Oh, guess what, Toby? I got a surprise for you." And I go, "What?" She said, "Well, Ray Denning's just escaped from jail and he's with me out in the car.
Yeah.
And he wants to go down to Wollongong. You want to come with us?" And I thought, I really to this day don't understand why, because I'm not particularly, I've got to tell you all that of that criminal mindset. It wouldn't enter my head, for instance, to go rob anyone, honestly.
Yep.
I didn't get brought up to do that. I'm a nurse. I could go get money that way. But still, I thought, what a lark. Go off with Ray Denning.
This could be
car.
interesting. Yeah.
And he's got a gun tucked down his belt, and hi Toby, because he's known me from the visits, and we rush off down to Wollongong. We meet his sister. Then Ray kept thinking about was a beer in the pub, and it's all he's had his sister. Now we're off to the pub to have his beer that he's been longing for. We're sitting there, he's drinking away, and I said, "Look, Ray, I know you want to just stay in pubs for the rest, however long you stay out here. But look, mate, why don't you either find a really good hideaway out there in the bush, or go and get a false passport somehow. It's possible to do. Go overseas. Yeah. You get a life. But oh no, he's got to continue robbing and drinking and get someone with some woman who finally decides she'd rather have the reward money. This is how I think it panned out. She snitched on him. He gets caught again. He goes inside.
It's always the way, isn't it? Someone gets bloody snitched. Yeah.
That's what my dad said, One thing, never bring a cop to my door and don't snitch on it. And I've stuck to that rule. I try not to. But so Ray goes back inside. Now he's totally, you might say, defeated. He's escaped twice, I think, because he's got that.
He did escape a couple of times.
Yeah,
he was very well known at the time. He copped some bashings too. Yeah, but he copped some serious bashings. Yeah.
In that one of the escape attempts, the screw got out. I meant this. Perhaps it's just apocryphal, but apparently a screwdriver shoved through his head.
Ooh.
And Ray
reckons
it was the other guy.
Yeah.
And the guy said it was Ray's. But Ray got pinned with it, mostly. The screws just blamed him. Whether he did it or not, I don't know. So they really bashed him and gave him a... Now, by the time he's back in again after I saw him, he's defeated. He's beaten. And they beat him and they did... Then they did the slimiest trick of all. They start supplying him with heroin. Because they know damn well if you're feeling down and beaten, you don't mind just getting out of it. And as he becomes... Again, this is what I think happened. Someone can correct me, he becomes a worse and worse addict to the point that when they say, okay, we're going to withdraw it from you now, snitch on everyone, and he turned into what's called a dog.
So basically they set him up.
Yeah, he got a bad reputation. Now someone's going to kill him. Part of the deal was eventually he'd get his sentence reduced. He got out.
Yep.
He's still a junkie with a bad... Now he's not only...
Because he was a big activist on prison rights for quite a while,
he was
wasn't
trying to improve his own situation.
And a lot of the prisoners, I believe, were like, yeah, good on you, mate, trying to help and what have you, but yeah.
Finally, he's not only got a bad reputation out in the normal public of criminal public enemy #1, now in the jail system he's a dog, right? So it's really everyone against him. And he's in, I think it was some little house in Paddington, someone shows up and he gets given a hot shot, apparently. Like, they
that's
find
what
him
I
dead
heard
on
too.
heroin.
He got loaded and, yeah.
You know, I feel really bad. He's had a tough life, and not that that could be the excuse to go out and rob and kill, but his mother committed suicide in front of him, apparently, and it drove him nuts. He was in a boys' reformatory all through...
This is the thing what we've talked about before. There's stories behind, you know, these sorts of things as well. It's like, you know, I'm not making an excuse, but there's stories behind it as well. You know, whether your father's an alcoholic or your shit kicked out of you. You know, my biological father was a drunk and kicked the shit out of us and things like that. And he disappeared in the 80s. You know, I had no idea what's happened. He's either dead or extremely tired, one of the two, and I don't give a fuck either way. You know, but there is stories behind these things, you know, and...
There's systems overseas in more benevolent societies, like, say, the Scandinavians, where their prisons are more open. They get more visitancy. They get conjugal fucking. They get to be taught in a...
Yeah.
You know, it's a fairly nice environment. And what do you know? The statistics of recidivism are lower, say, than here, where they get tortured to death. They don't get any education, nothing, right? And they go out and they're just fucked up. Now, I was having problems, and I went to a shrink, and they kept saying, oh, we're going to give you more antidepressants. So I said, look, I know that's your answer to everything, but the truth is, and drugs might treat some of my symptoms, but 80% of my problem is that world out there that I'm living in. My rent, you know, I can't afford it. I'm on a low pension. I try to get a job and I can't get it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. It's not, say, an innate mental illness that's all the problem. There's our fucked up society that's all. And if you as shrink should think about that, you know, where does this person come from?
It is, I agree with what you say. It's classic textbook stuff with the shrink too. It's like a lot of it's common sense. So you'll sit there and, you know, you threw the guy off 8 floors. And that. Now, how do you feel about that? Do you think that was wrong? Yeah, I think that was wrong. Oh, we're making progress and we'll go further next week. You know, it's a crock of shit. A lot of
when I said all this, they looked surprised, right? That really blew me away. Like, oh, we didn't realize out there people are having a hard time, but they said, look, we find you interesting, would you like to come back next week and we'll talk more? And I'm
that'll
thinking,
be another $350.
I'm thinking, you know, like, more work for you, more money, and what, you got me to experiment. And I just said, listen, once is enough here. I've come to talk. I'm out of here. I'm not going to make this my life. So I fucked up. They gave me a prescription for a new drug. It's called lamotrigine, and it handles my mood swings, and it doesn't seem to have any bad side effects. And I try not to do it like every day. I do it every third day or something. And it's worked out good. Before that, I was on Epilim, and Epilim's for epileptics. And when you have a flip out temper tantrum, it's very much like an epileptic fit. All your neurons fire off and you can't stop it. You go into this uncontrollable rage and you can't stop it until it blows over like an epileptic fit. And anyone you're with should just say, listen, lay down, here's a cup of tea, have a Panadol. But no, they all run around because I'm screaming, yeah, fucking. Right? And they just think, this guy, we got to like shut him up, but they don't. Deal with it really well. They
don't. No, I remember years ago. It's like have a Bex and a lay down. Have a Vincent and a lay. I'm sort of the. I think everyone was. You know,
my grandmother was addicted to Bex.
Oh, that was huge. Bex and Vincent. You know, sort of. And then a Winnie Blue and a casket of Moselle, Lindeman's Moselle. You know, I remember our neighbour. Oh, fucking. Anyway, another story. Bloody interesting, mate. Very interesting. We're going to wrap it up soon. I want to know now, with your art, you just said you had a...
I got a show on in Darlinghurst. I'm 73 going on 4, and I really am getting tired, and I'm tired of living broke, and I actually put my money into this by buying paints, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
I've invested $1,000 in this show just to hang the damn stuff on the walls. Now, I'd be lucky in what I've sold now to come out of it with $700, so I'm actually at a loss. Why am I doing it? It's compulsive.
Yep.
I really like being an artist. There's no point painting pictures and leaving them in my room. I might as well get out there and show everyone. And I'm doing prints of all my favorite works. There's 49 of them on the wall. I'm showing my animated cartoons. It's a good show. It's called Passport Store and Gallery. It's there in Oxford Street.
So you get a frame print and...
Well, you don't get it framed. You get the really top quality print on paper, and they're limited edition, only 21 of anything is going to be printed, so you might buy 7, number 7/21. You got to number them, sign them, date them, and that's I'm doing.
How can people see that, mate? Have you've got a website or something like that? Or I know you can Google information. You can Google information on him.
Are you giving us the cut? Oh yeah, the book. I forgot that. I keep forgetting this is not just radio, it's visual. But I put out a book describing life in Sydney. My
Oh, whack it on. Beautiful.
cheesecake has gotten on the book. But it's called Punk Outsider. And I mean, even when I'm at high school, I'm a bit outsider, of course, because being queer and a chip on my shoulder. But this book it's illustrated with my art, so it's all about the life of an artist. I work for
an interesting life.
Prisoners paper, Jail News for a while, so I did a lot of cartooning for them.
You've done a lot of artwork and stuff like that. I noticed. What was it? Did you do any artwork? Was it Mad Max 3 or something or other? Was it?
I didn't do any artwork. I got a job as an extra there, so I got to.
Did you
sit for? After that's another thing. You can read the book to find the story there. But, sitting next to Mel Gibson, and then Tina Turner. I actually only took the job so I could sit next to her. And,
did you get to meet her? Because I've got a not so good story on Tina Turner. But I served her in a hotel years ago, which was a Park Lane. It's Sheraton on the Park now, and I liked her before I served her. Just put it that way.
Well, what happened?
What a bigger bitch I haven't fucking met. Oh, she was horrible. She was fucking horrible. I'm sorry. I don't want to get sued or anything, but she wasn't a nice person. And
she was really nice on the set, and every idiot grabbed a hold of her and said, "Tina, can you tell me how I can become a rock star?" And she'd say, "A lot of hard work, honey." I never went near her. I didn't grab her. I didn't talk to her. I just sat near her and I watched her. And I got a feeling every now and then when I'd be looking at her, she'd look over at me and give me a smile as if to almost say, "You haven't come over and put your hand on me." Everyone was grabbing her. Now imagine that, walking through life. I mean, if someone puts their hand on me, I will slap it away. Much less when 1,000 are trying to do it. Everyone wants a piece of you. So
she's still going too. She's got to be 80-something, I think, now. Ike Turner, was it? Ike Turner, though? He flogged the shit out of her.
Man, look, none of us... So you might have caught her on a bad night in a bad mood. Someone would say, "Oh, that Toby Zoates, he's a right little bastard. Flipped out on me." But that might only be one night for 1 hour. The rest of the time, I'm pretty friendly and cool, and that's my problem.
It's like you say, Well, I only filled in for one shift there. She had a personal valet sort of thing, and I filled in for one shift there, and she must have been in a bad mood because it was a fucking long, horrible shift. I remember that.
That makes me laugh.
She was a martyr, a bit of a diva. What do they call it? Diva that night.
That is another problem with superstardom.
It
is the problem with superstardom. They do become divas,
and it's the group around them that put them on this pedestal as well. Whatever you want, So,
well, you know what? The only good benefit of staying poor and ignominious into old age, at least I don't have 1,000 people putting their hands on me, Seriously,
right.
I couldn't handle it at all.
But there you go. You can hold that one up again.
I got some grease on it, right? I'm one of these dudes. I can't even handle one spot of grease. I got to.
There's nothing wrong
John's
with being clean,
book,
Toby.
and I got to clean it.
But there's the book.
I self-published it, all right. Paid for it myself. Flog it online or to have. I'm with this show last night. I've sold about 10 books, so that makes me happy. Right? I mean,
it's not easy, and the whole publishing thing is it's not easy.
The reason I self-publish is if I went. First of all, you've got to crack that publishing company. That could take 10 years. I might drop dead in the night, right? And then the book wouldn't be done. Secondly, once they get a hold of it, they then tell you how to write it. They want to go over it again and change it. They want their cover always. I couldn't say to them, "No, that's it." They say, "No, we want our cover." They want the fonts. They want the layout. Finally, it's not your book kind of anymore. As far as I'm concerned, this is my book. I'm an artist, and this is how I want it. I chose the art that goes in it. Let me find another one. Here's some dolphins. One dolphin saying to the other, "Land rights for gay whales." I want a cigarette, right?
I used to say that, Toby, all the time. Land rights for gay whales. And you actually get some people going,
I changed.
I said they need land, mate.
I changed that line now a bit. So I said it last night to brand rights for grey males. Because in the end, fighting patriarchy as a philosophical, political system on this planet. I mean, I'm a guy, right? And I hang, but men ruling and in the end, worried about whether they're going to get it up or not, they shoot off missiles in replacement for that. And with all the nuclear weapons available, like I said, I've been arrested twice on that issue alone, and I'm afraid the human race is over.
Mate, the world's in a bad way.
Really?
A fucking really bad way. It is a worry. So, all you can do is try and stay positive, get pissed on the weekends or get stoned on the weekends or whatever you're into or what are you doing.
Mine is watching movies. I just chill out, put my feet up, watch movies.
I'm a big Elvis fan too, mate. So I
watched Jailhouse Rock the other night.
I liked Elvis.
I like a lot of his early shit, really. And again, Jailhouse Rock.
And he got fucked up as well. He got fucked up with the whole fame thing. And,
he just became a fat blob eating fucking peanut jelly sandwiches. I mean, imagine
very good
that kind
guy,
of
though.
fame.
I mean, I've studied a lot in his life, and he's a very good guy. And anyway... Well, look, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it. It's been fucking great having you in. A little bit of crime today, swingers, and also it's nice to mix it around a little bit. You know what I mean? And a little bit of crime and a little bit of a really interesting bloke. I think you're a Sydney character and a bit of a legend.
Oh, come on, maybe. I don't know about a legend, but I've certainly become a Sydney boy. I even go to Melbourne and they say, you betrayed us. You've gone to Sydney. I think that's stupid. It's just a good city to live in.
You can say, look, Melbourne's getting too overcrowded now, so. Yeah. But, no, it's been really good. That was episode 22, swingers. We're most grateful, Toby, for you to come in today. We wish you all the best, mate. I think really it's a chip on the iceberg to his life. And we will be back real soon, swingers, as soon as we can. I'm a bit like Toby here. I'm not making any money. And so each one we put out isn't easy, and each one we put out costs a bit of money. Again, thank you to our new sponsor, Storm Studios, Sydney and Gladesville. And Marcus, we really appreciate everyone that's helped us. And I say it all the time, but, Mr. John Killick's been a bloody legend and it helped us a lot. We've got Graham Henry that's helped us, and Gary Page, all the ones. Big Brad was the last one. He was a fucking legend, and we'll be having him back too. Hey. Before the end of the year, I might call on you again. What do you want, you little prick? Well, you want to come back and,
I just want to say that.
Please.
Personally, I'm a bum in the gutter, and I'm no hero.
Well, that makes two of us.
Legend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My last thing to say, Australia, peace. Forget fucking war with China.
Yeah, fuck. It's honestly, get pissed on the weekends. That's what I say. Yeah. I leave it to the weekend, so I don't drink during the week. Thank you very much, swingers. That was episode 22. We will be back real soon with some more interesting stuff. Toby, thank you, sir. He's a good man. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and bye.